What is up, everyone? This is going to be my Briar jungle video, and I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know on how to play Briar jungle. So Briar jungle, I actually think I'm having a great time with her. I think she's extremely fun, extremely good to play. I've been making a lot of videos on tank items and how to abuse them. With Briar specifically, it's a bit tricky to kind of like take advantage of tank items just because her spells all are scaling off of your bonus 80, right? So on Briar jungle specifically, if you don't build attack damage items, you're always going to struggle. But I have found a lot of builds that I find to be really good. So here we're always going to solo Raptors. We're going to play for a full clear early game. And that's just our priority. And with runes, I personally just really like lethal tempo. I think press attack is very strong as well if you're going for more of a burst oriented build. If you want a better like straightforward scaling build, I recommend going with a lethal tempo. Itemization, which I think can be really good for, heavy melee fights. So if I was to go into like more of a tankier build, I think lethal tempo will definitely, give you that sort of attack speed you lack for it. And here when I'm playing Briar jungle, I'm always aware of, kind of like what jungler am I playing against. We're going to be playing in like Diamond 1 MMR, so I'm playing against an Evelynn. Evelynn's a full clear jungler. So I don't even have to like worry so much. I can just make sure I can I'm going to get my full clear. She's going to get her full clear. I just want to know which side she starts on. If she starts red or she starts blue, she'll end up on this side. And I just want to pay attention to that pretty much. Here, we're going to be playing for, our early level 5 full clear build, which is a really strong one. It gives us our Tiamat vibe. Because we solo Raptors, our Raptor camp is actually going to be back up at 4 minutes. So we can do that and our Krugs. And by 4:30, we'll have enough for a Tiamat and we're going to base and it's going to be really nice. Here, I'm just doing my red just so I can have my red. Or sorry, I'm going to do my blue first before my Grom. Just because it's just like a good habit to have because you don't want people to be on your blue. And you don't want to be on your blue when you're going to get invaded by like maybe like a level 3 champion like a Lee Sin or like a Viego. So it's just safer to be on, for example, your Grom. If a champion like Lee Sin or early game jungler was to invade you, you would have that safety there. So build wise, I mean, I talked about Tiamat. I really like going into Titanic. I think Titanic's really strong right now. I think it's a really good item. I think it's just really straightforward. You can also go into Eclipse. Here, we're always going to start with our right click into W. And we 100% win this really hard. So we just want to get our bite down. She's pretty much dead here. Now I'm going to go my Nara here. So I'm going to E charge. If he flashes, and I can W. Stun him into a bite. So this is what I was talking about. Lethal tempo in those early fights, really OP. And on Briar, I think lethal tempo is very underrated, especially with your W. Because your W gives you bonus attack speed, it actually gives you more damage on lethal tempo. So it's quite strong. So here, I mean, that's a really good early fight. I got my damage. River fights, level 4 with lethal tempo. You lose literally none. Really strong. So here, like I said, these 3 items are all fine. If I'm going to go into this one, you can buy your Tiamat or you can go into like the Tunneler, get like a sword or like some HP as well. This, if I'm against like a stronger early game comp, I favor this buy just because it's going to give me 250 HP. Tiamat, it's really not the best first item to rush in my opinion. If you can afford the Tunneler, if you can afford like maybe some swords and stuff, generally you'll end up favoring that more. But here I'm going to just farm my Krugs as well. Just because Briar really needs to not be bursted down early. And you also scale kind of well with the early HP. Plus, this component is one of the best early game components in the game, right? So, very strong component. You can go Tiamat, but honestly, if you can just go Tunneler, it's just better for your early game. You're going to end up having the Tiamat for your next buy anyways. And your gold Briar is honestly just the AFK farm. Like, you're really not doing that much. The game just plays itself out. You want to make sure you get your cycles. This is my second farm cycle. We have our buy. We're happy. We have smite ready. We want to make sure we get it. Plus, we have our void grub going on right now. We have void grub spawning in 20 seconds, so we're going to be ready for that as well. And we know their summoners are down, right? Who do we know their summoner is down? We know Evelynn's flash is down and Nara's flash is down, so we're definitely going to think about that. And this guy is pushing out his wave. So this situation, I want to save my smite because I'm going to be doing void grub soon. And I know this guy's wave is pushing out, so there's 2 ways we can approach this. We can either like go for like river or we can lane gank him. So if he's playing to harass, Tom will pretty much W and we can just go on him here. So here we see the W going. I'm going to W just to get in range. But unfortunately my W actually respawned out. His E is a really long cooldown, so I can actually go on him here. I have my E, so I'm actually quite tanky. Did not die here. Gnar should die as well. So what I'm gonna do is get my 6. I'm gonna ulti right after. Should be a headshot. Bon appetit. There, you can't. This is the benefit of the tunneler. The HP is really big. I'm not gonna get bursted in that situation, so I'm pretty happy. With just tanking the Gnar damage, getting my bite off. What's really important in that situation, what you saw was I made sure I got my bite off. And then once I, felt the CC coming in, the Evelyn coming in to try to burst me down, just get the E off and kite around. Briar, what makes her really OP is to understand that she's sort of like a stat checking champion where if you're able to get these multiple W's off, you're going to kill people very well, very quickly. If you're not able to get multiple W's off, it can be a bit dicey. So here you can go, same thing, giant belt into Tiamat, depending on how you want to itemize. Right now, I honestly just think HP is really OP. So I want to make sure I get my HP items. So we're going to go into the Titanic buy. I think Titanic is the easiest, simplest build to have in your itemization. I think it's good from low to high. Also, if you want to go tanky, you can actually just go tanky with this build. I think you can easily transition into like, if you want to go for the tanky path. Tank items, I would say would be good is like Undying Despair into like a Spear Visage, something like that. But if you want to just play for, like a standard Briar build, I would just go Cleaver second. Cleaver, just a very solid item, so I would itemize for that, and that would be a really good item for you to build on her. Here, I do want to save my spike because I could do Dragon here, but I'm going to play really heavily around my farm and see what plays are. So my mid just flash, important to know. Evelyn is walking into River. I'm, really strong, right? What I think is happening is Evelyn's going to be walking, maybe crossing here, maybe going for Crab. I'm going to pink here just to see if there's any pathing here. I'd be surprised if Evelyn's not here. Evelyn has to be here, right? So I think Evelyn has to be here. So I'm going to go here. I'm actually going to flash on her because she's going to try to stun me and then I'm going to get the bite off. Very, very straightforward, very easy. The thing about Briar you have to remember is the fact that Briar, when you W, you are running in a straight line, okay? So if I'm running in a straight line and Anivia is throwing her Q at me, there's no way you're going to dodge it. So you have to flash to get over things, right? That's why flash is really important for her. And also you have to understand that your W initially is a dash. So what you notice with me is I use my W to kind of juke things and then it puts me in the, the chase mechanic. But initially you can go for that initial like jump to dodge abilities too, which I utilize a lot when I play her. Here you see, okay, Raptors are up. Why am I not going to my Raptors here? And the answer is real simple, because I already farmed my Krugs. If I just start on this side and farm down, I'm going to have my Raptors cleared by the time my Krugs are going to be up. So I'm going to keep what I like to say is like a very strong path. I'm going to keep it because of this decision to do top to bottom instead of doing bottom to top. So that's really good for me. Here I could ulti, but I'm just not confident that it's a guaranteed fight yet. But now I think, okay, we can win it. So I'm just going to ulti. Start with my art just because I think I could get bursted, so I have to go slow here. I'm gonna E now as did as much damage as possible. Damn, I needed my Tom to maybe not run past and just ignore everything. A lot of damage there. If it wasn't for Ignite, I 100% would have killed him. But we end up winning the fight anyways. So here against the AP mid, AP jungler, I do favor Merc Tread, so I'm definitely going to itemize that right now. What you can see is like the pathing would have took me there. So now in this situation, how do I want to path? Because I died. I only cleared my blue and we have Void Grubs in 30, right? Void Grubs in 30, go bot to top, right? You want to be here in this area because I'm strong. This objective is going to be mine. So I want to be clearing in that direction. I want to be, getting that in my path. And the combo is really simple with your Briar. You just want to W in to get close. You get into the taunt range. And then you want to just Q them, auto attack Titanic into a bite. And that's the generic combo you're going to be doing. With Titanic, you get that extra active damage, which is quite nice. So here I'll auto W, boom, 3 hits. And yeah, Lethal Tempo, it's done a decent amount of damage already. But what's really good about it is the scaling effect. I will say the scaling is quite high. Here, this person pings a lot. So I get a lot of pingers in games, you know, and I really don't like playing around people who just spam ping, right? I like to play, you know, around my own game, right? I like to play with my thoughts on my decisions, not on what I see my teammate telling me to do. There you can see Evelyn was maneuvering around. So one thing might happen is Evelyn might be lurking as well. But I want to prioritize the grubs. Like I see what Cinder's doing, right? I do see it. But I want to prioritize the objective. Because it's really easy for you to fall into traps where you're running back and forth thinking, oh, do we fight now? Or am I supposed to stay on the objective? Just do the majority of the time. If I see like a really good fight, I will ulti. But like you don't want to get baited by your team because going back and forth as a jungler is really bad for your game. So you always want to avoid that. Now I've done so much for my team, right? What's really important with Briar is objective control. You take no damage when you're on objectives with your W healing and your passive healing. You're really taking no damage. So you really want to kind of like forget about that. Here, I think, okay, if Evelyn's there, maybe this guy might be in trouble, but do I want to ulti from super far away? Probably not. I'm willing to let this guy die. And the reason we let him die there is because I think it's not a guarantee that anything can happen off that. And what's really good is there's a good chance Nara's going to continue pushing with this wave because he wants plates. And then I could try to kill him there. That's also an option. I'm surprised he's not here, so we can just take the wave. And, you know, this is just really good money for us. Extra gold, extra cash, you know. Very good for our game. We just really want to devour as much as possible. And here I'm going to get my Merc Chest, and then I'm going to start to go into tanky items. And like I said, let's say if I want to go into like a tank build this game, right? How do I want to, you know, itemize into tank items? Like I said, Undying Despair is really good. If you're going to build a tank item, this would be your armor item. If you wanted to try like more of a tank build out. Personally, I think Briar specifically is harder to make this utilized. I haven't tried it too much. Usually I always go Cleaver into like, you know, Sterix, Death Stance, Sunder Sky kind of build. But with Spear Visage, your healing is quite insane. So if you want like maybe to try this build out, you can do what I'm about to do, which is Undying Despair into Spear Visage. Those are, in my opinion, are some of the her best items for tank items. You should for sure want to do it. Then after that, I would probably go into like Sunder Sky. Or something more, you know, like some more AD items. This game, they're pretty much AD and AP heavy, so I have to build. Both resist will be good for me this game. But I could easily just go into Cleaver too if I wanted to. Cleaver is just always really good on Briar, just the way she operates. She works really well with Cleaver. Here, I think I'm pretty much unkillable in this situation. I'm gonna clear out the ward. I see Evelyn topside, so I'm just gonna start the dragon. With the Kindle gem, it does go into Cleaver, so I could easily just still go into Cleaver. But I saw Evelyn topside. I might have to give up Herald, so we should always commit to a dive in this situation. I'm gonna smite then W because the extra % health damage. They're not here, so this tower's gone anyways. So what I'm thinking is, how am I going to get to this side? Because I really don't want them to get all this free control. Syndra moving down was really bad, so we've already lost control of top side. Me Wing in here is really bad because there's really nothing we can even do here. Us checking into here, we need like Xayah or something, so it's really dangerous. But Anivia's basing, that's really good. That's like a green light for me. Maybe she's on Herald. So she pretty much got off it, so I can actually retake this control. So you can see you're always watching for who's still here, right? You always want to pay attention to enemy positions, enemy movements. Seeing Anivia base there pretty much means like, okay, like I can retake this position, but you gotta be careful, right? You gotta be real careful. You don't want to walk in there, Rail, Anivia, and Evelyn are waiting there to just jump your booty. You gotta be careful. You gotta think, okay, I'm gonna approach things very slowly. Here I'm gonna W and just do more damage. My go-to is just always Cleaver, but I just think the problem with Evelyn generally is like building tank items on her. She just Or sorry, not Evelyn, generally. Building tank items on Briar just... Oh my god, they F'd up. My game is not moving. Building tank items on Briar, she doesn't have as much damage. But if I was a good tank, yeah, I'd go into Undying Despair. Spear of Visage and those sort of items. Unfortunately, the enemy team gave up too quickly. But I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, your memory. I'll try to get you a longer video on Briar later. And yeah, good luck on the climb.